One of the other fundamental concepts that I want to talk to you about is something called filler words. So, what are filler words? Filler words are words like uh, they're not really words that are used to convey any particular message. They are used often when you're trying to find the right next word for what you want to say. Now, most people use filler words to a certain degree. Native English speakers certainly use filler words. Some people use the word like. Maybe you've talked to somebody who was really pleased to meet you. It doesn't sound very intelligent in English when you speak like that, to be totally honest. So, as I just did, a lot of people use filler words. Native English speakers use filler words. And people that are learning English often use filler words because they, in particular, have to look for words. I'm sure you often have to search for your words. I often search for my words in Spanish and in French. And so it's quite natural to use filler words. So it's not that we're aiming to completely eliminate them, but you do need to be careful that they don't become a very predominant habit, a very strong habit that you're not conscious of, and that they overtake your sentences. That happens sometimes. I work with people in one-to-one training who will literally say or every second word. I want to, you get the picture. That is not ideal. You really have to check yourself. So the next time that you're speaking English, please do a quick self-test and see where you're at with filler words. All right, so number one, make sure that they're not a chronic, unconscious, totally dominant habit. Now, the next thing and the last thing that I would like to say about filler words is that I really think that there's no place for them in particular situations. So, when you're calling somebody, you know what you have to say. You have to say 2, maybe 3 sentences. Hi, this is Natalie calling from Bridgewood. I'm calling to talk to Jim. So even if your level is quite low, you can learn those 2 or 3 sentences so that there is no in those moments. Other moments that I think fall into this category are your elevator pitch. You need to know your elevator pitch like the back of your hand. You need to be able to say it in your sleep. When you have the chance to introduce yourself to somebody new, you're going to say 3, 4, 5 compelling sentences about yourself without hesitation because you've practiced it over and over as much as you need to until you can say it with 0 filler words. So let's consider some other moments in your professional life when you can realistically avoid filler words. First of all, the beginning of a meeting. If you're leading a meeting, you can learn 3 to 4 sentences to kick off a meeting that you can use over and over again, and you can practice them in advance to be sure that you don't hesitate, stumble, search for words. Closing a meeting as well. You can have 3 or 4 key phrases that you've practiced, that you know inside out, you're completely comfortable with, and you can say them efficiently without filler words, without hesitation. As well, you can avoid filler words in most presentations that you have the option of preparing in advance. So if you've been given 2 weeks to prepare a 5 to 10 minute report on your projects in your country, well, there you go. You have time to prepare, you have time to practice, to think through very carefully what you want to say in English, and that will allow you to really, really reduce the number of filler words that you might otherwise say without proper preparation. And most basic social conversations, you can also get to the point where you are not relying on filler words because you have practiced. There are many social conversations that you can predict in advance are going to pop up at social events. People are going to ask you where you're from. They're going to ask you what you do. They're going to ask you about your country. Are you married? Do you have kids? What do you do on the weekend? Etc. So you try to predict, you do some research, you predict what you're going to need to talk about in social situations, and you practice. You think about, what should I say? What's going to be an interesting answer to this question? And you can even write it out if that helps you. And then you need to practice with somebody, not necessarily a teacher. That's where a language partner can be very valuable. You practice and you practice until you don't rely on filler words anymore because you're not searching for your words. These are situations that you can avoid filler words most easily. These are situations that you can predict and where efficiency is a bit more important than being completely original. For example, the beginning and end of a meeting, efficiency is very important. The first 10 seconds of your call, it's efficiency that's important. In other situations, it's very important to be more spontaneous, original, responding to something that was just said. And you can't prepare those necessarily. You can't practice them in advance. And so if you have a few more filler words in those moments, it's quite logical. Situations that you can predict and you can prepare, you can practice in advance, are the situations that you can eliminate filler words. And that's the goal. That's quite fantastic. So that's all I want to say about filler words. I hope that this has been useful to you, or that it is useful to you when you apply what I've discussed in this video. And please let me know if you have any questions.